Some breaking news. A federal judge struck down a key provision of the Affordable Care Act that some say could jeopardize the health of around 100 million Americans.
Now listen to this. The ruling restricts access to free preventative services. It effectively blocks the requirement for most insurers to cover some preventative care free of charge. And those services include cancer screenings and access to HIV drugs.
Well, joining us now is CBS News legal contributor Jessica Levinson. She's also a professor for Loyola Law School. Jessica, so this ruling actually comes from the same judge who deemed the Affordable Care Act unconstitutional 4 years ago. Obviously, ultimately, the Supreme Court threw out his decision. But tell us what's going on now.
What's going on now is exactly what we just mentioned, which is that this is about preventative care services that insurance companies under the ACA have to provide to patients right now, cost-free, meaning the private insurers have to pay for that. So cancer screenings, STD screenings, mental health screenings, certain tobacco programs. And what the judge has said is that the way the ACA is structured is actually unconstitutional when it comes to these preventative measures, because there's a task force that determines which of these preventative measures have to be included in free care for patients. And what the judge said is that task force, that they don't actually have the power to make those recommendations, and that it violates the Constitution to allow this private group of volunteers to be the ones determining what is mandated under these free screening programs under the ACA.
What's so noteworthy about this decision, as you've kind of spelled it out, this judge seems from the outside to have an axe to grind against the ACA in the first place. And this seems like a very aggressive decision. What are those who support those provisions saying about this development?
It is worth noting that this is a very aggressive decision. And of course, as we just talked about, this is the judge who said that the ACA in its entirety was unconstitutional. And of course, the Supreme Court said, actually, nobody has standing to challenge what you just said. And no. So what are those who are defending the ACA claiming here? What they're saying is the way we've structured it actually is perfectly constitutional under this thing called the Appointments Clause, that this task force that we've been talking about that makes the recommendations and determines which types of screenings are covered, that they have the power under the law to do so. Of course, the critics that he sided with are saying, if you want this group to have that power, they have to be appointed by the president and confirmed by the Senate. So that's the legal argument. The political argument, obviously, is a different one about the ACA and its utility and how many people are helped and affected by it.
That's interesting because while we're talking about free screenings, it's not actually free. People are paying for their subscription to whatever health insurance plan they are part of, and unless we're talking about Medicare or Medicaid. But when we're talking about the ACA, people are they're paying their premiums. And so this decision is very likely going to be appealed. Do you expect it's going to wind up at the Supreme Court?
I expect that it could. And you're so right to point out that this is not entirely free. I actually just taught the ACA case to my constitutional law students, and we talked about the different roads that you can take and the different ways that we structure healthcare in America. And of course, we don't have a government provided system other than, as you mentioned, Medicare and Medicaid. But what's going to happen next? So I think what the Biden administration will do is say to Judge O'Connor, please put your decision on hold. Because what he did today is he said, you get a nationwide injunction. It's not just in Texas. It's not just for some plaintiffs. It's that these particular preventative measures, that this is not part of the ACA that can be that can go into effect anywhere, that can continue to be applied anywhere. So I think what the Biden administration will do is say, push pause on that. Let us apply to the Fifth Circuit. One thing for us to note is that Judge O'Connor did not side with the challengers on all of the pieces that they were complaining about, that they were arguing were a problem in the ACA. And so when this is appealed to the Fifth Circuit, both sides can appeal. And this decision could actually be enlarged and could be worse for those who support the ACA, or it could be narrowed. And then, Lana, as you said, it could go to the Supreme Court.
Wow, really important to keep watching this because we're speaking about people having access to preventative care so they can be healthy. Jessica Levinson, always great to chat with you, taking us to class today. Appreciate it.
Thank you.